scored 3 tries though. McCarney scored 3 tries, and Cunningham with 2 tries. So plenty of people banging the points, and that was a big win for London and for Huddersfield. It moves them both up above Salford. So obviously, London's game against Salford becomes crucial for them and for both sides, and Huddersfield's game against Lee similarly.
Yeah, absolutely.
May well be a difference maker.
You never know. And London take on Leeds this weekend, don't they? And you've got to think that there's no reason for them not to feel up for that one, if nothing else. Okay, into the Championship Shield then, and Bradford Bulls secured themselves a home semi-final with 5 fixtures to spare, with a 44 points to 22 victory over Halifax. That was the Bulls' first win over Halifax in 5 attempts. Sheffield Eagles with 48 points to 16 winners over Whitehaven. It was Swinton 8, Oldham 30 in the big derby down in Greater Manchester, and Workington were 34 points to 24 winners over the Dewsbury Rams.
Yeah, that Workington revival
continues,
and now they're just a couple of points behind Swinton and a couple more behind Oldham and Dewsbury. Dewsbury are slipping into a bit of a troublesome zone for them, I would say.
You're quite wedded to the Cumbrian sides and to Swinton. Who do you suspect will go down?
Well, Whitehaven, I'm starting to fear the worst for, and I don't want either of Swindon and Workington to go down, to be completely honest. So let's hope Dewsbury have some calamitous fall from grace.
Well, it's starting to happen, isn't it?
But in all seriousness, no, I do fear that it'll be the 2 Cumbrian sides when it all comes out, because obviously Workington have had that pressure of players being told that wages are going to get reduced. You can't afford to run the club out. They've been running the club, and that's been patchy at best, and not been always able to get full squads out in the last couple of years. So things are tight up there, and the credit to the players, and maybe that's spurring them on, thinking, well, we'll get pay if we finish in the whereas we're fucked if we go down.
Must have to start looking for new teams, absolutely. Okay, it was the League One Super 8s as well this weekend. Doncaster were defeated at home 18 points to 38 by champions-elect Toulouse. It was 30 points to 10 between Keighley Cougars and London Scholars. Did you see that the poor London Scholars lads had to walk about 3 miles to get to the stadium because of a road closure?
No.
Yeah, someone tweeted a picture of them walking into the ground. Bless them. So not ideal preparation ahead of a big tie up in West Yorkshire. Rochdale were beaten at home 16 points to 36 by the York City Knights. Good to see them fulfilling their fixtures. And it was Barrow 44, Hunslet Hawks 26.
Not just fulfilling the fixtures, getting a win in.
Absolutely. League One Shield then saw Oxford beaten at home by 62 points to 18 by the Newcastle side. It was North Wales 28, Coventry 30. Tom Ackley 99 got in touch with us over this one. He said it was a great game despite poor discipline and some questionable refereeing. Coventry edged out a very evenly matched game. Thank you very much, Tom, for getting in touch with us about that one.
A cover on a push as well for chasing North Wales. If the form stays as it's been, that could get interesting.
There you go. And the final game of the weekend in the League One Shield saw Gloucestershire All Girls defeat the Hemel Stags by 74 points to 18. Congratulations to the lads down at the All Girls. Into the NRL then, it was round 23 of regular season play. The Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs beat the Manly Seagulls by 20 points to 16.
179 metres and 63 tackles from the unbelievable James Graham.
Absolutely. Brisbane Broncos arrested their slide down the table somewhat with a 38 points to 16 victory over the Parramatta Eels. It was West Tigers 18 and the Gold Coast Titans 19, marking a close one thing. The Hayne Plain.
I didn't watch the game.
Hayne Plain kicked a drop goal.
Wow, there you go.
So I was waiting for you to... of course, you were Olympics mad this week.
I've got Olympics fever.
Well, I could tell you anything, really, couldn't I?
Yeah.
They're fantastic. Joe Burgess signed for them on loan earlier in the week, and he kicked the winning drop goal. It was the...
I'm aware that he did it.
Yes, because, as we'll find out, it was New Zealand Warriors 22, South Sydney Rabbitohs 41 mark.
Joe Burgess grabbed 2 tries in this one. Tom Burgess had 149 metres, Sam Burgess 195 metres, and George Burgess with approaching maybe a return to form, let's hope, 111 metres.
There you go. The St George Illawarra Dragons defeated my Cronulla Sharks by 32 points to 18.
Wow, yeah. This is like probably the 3rd upset in a row.
Sharks in decline, Mark.
With a try and a try assist, Cooper 106 metres.
Fantastic. Newcastle Knights were defeated at home 6 points to 42 by the Penrith Panthers.
And the comfortable margin allowed Zach Hardaker to come off the bench, and he grabbed a try assist in his short stint, so well done to Zach.
A couple of potentially surprising results then to round off the weekend. The Sydney Roosters were 22 points to 10 victors over the North Queensland Cowboys. And it was the Raiders 22, Melbourne Storm 8. Yeah,
Josh Hodgson had a try assist, but more pertinent in this game was Elliot Whitehead. He had a try assist to go with 123 metres and 45 tackles.
Fabulous.
Celebrating his new deal.
There you go. So what does that do to things in the NRL? What are the standings looking like?
Well, the Storm stay top, and the top four now look settled with the Bulldogs in fourth, the Raiders in third, and your Sharkies. The Cowboys and Broncos aren't quite over the line for the 8, but points difference means they pretty much are. The Dragons in 11th keep themselves just in the playoff hunt, but ahead of them, 2 points separate 7th place Panthers from 10th place Tigers, as it's going to go down to the wire with 3 rounds left.
Fantastic stuff. Before we start finding out about how things have been going for the Brentwood Eels, on your behalf as well, I'd like to thank Aaron Smith for the wonderful and very kind email that he sent to us earlier this week. I won't embarrass the chap by insisting that we read it out, but he was more than complimentary, and it was an absolute delight to read. So thank you, Aaron. We really appreciate those kind words. How are things doing down in Brentwood? Because there's been some exciting news and drama in Essex, Mark, that doesn't involve nightclubs and plastic surgery.
There was drama as the Brentwood Eels did make 4th place in the table because of an ineligible player that had played for the other team. I can't remember who they were.
Was it Bedford?
No, they were top of the table.
Played, isn't it?
Summit Titans, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, you can read the story. It's on our Facebook page.
Yes.
But the Eels Open Age team, they got into the playoffs. They headed back to Bedford to play against the Tigers in the East Premier Division playoff semi-final. And you might remember the Tigers finished top of the table and were quite strong this season. Another physical game saw a well-drilled Bedford Tigers team come out on top again, winning 68-22. They move into the grand final against the Hemel Stags, who beat the St Albans Centurions in the other semi-final grudge match.
Oh dear me, that will not have gone down well with some of our listeners, will it?
No. Then Aaron also told us about at the end of the Junior Rugby League season, the highest performing players from all the clubs in the South East are picked to play in the Hard Rock Cafe Origin Series, a series of games and training sessions throughout September, which sees the North team, the Blues, versus the South team, Maroons, go head to head at 3 different age groups, under 14s, under 15s and under 17s. The River Thames being the dividing line.
Sensational stuff, I love it.
This year, the Brentwood Eels have 12 players selected in total across the 3 age groups. This includes the almost infamous Jacob Smith goal kicking and try scoring sensation for the under 14s there. Patrick Wiseman, Charlie Watts, Rory Gray, who will play alongside players from teams like Oxford, St Albans, the Scholars, Eastern Rhinos, Richmond Titans, and the Hemel Stags in the North London under 14s team. Come on, the Blues!
Fantastic, good luck, lads, and I hope Aaron will keep us informed with how those young men get on.
Yeah, that 2-game series takes place in September, so when the kids are back at school.
Fantastic.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to follow that progress. Aaron will keep us updated, he said, so that's great.
Yeah, great stuff.
He never lets us down, does he?
Doesn't, not at all. He, like the metal he delivers, he always delivers. Shit, I fucked that up. Okay, well, there you go. Cheers either way, Aaron. Right, that's pretty much everything taken care of in the world of Rugby League. Let's look into the future now, as we bring you our previews and predictions for round 3 of the Super 8s. So, it's the 3rd round of the Super 8s format this week then, Mark, and the weekend kicks off over at the KCOM Stadium. Hull FC taking on the Catalan Dragons. Now, 6 weeks ago I'd have had my mouth watering at this clash. As it happens, I think this is going to end up being a pretty workaday performance for Hull. Catalan seem to be just lethargic more than anything else at the minute. A couple of injuries notwithstanding, I think Hull FC are going to win the Battle of the Pack, and even potentially without Mark Sneed in the rating, I think they're going to have more than enough to dispatch this ropey Catalan side. 30 points to 10 I'm going for. What say ye?
I think it'll be very similar to the game that Catalan played against St Helens. They'll have their chances, they'll take a few in the first half, but they won't be able to stick with Hull FC's relentless sort of athleticism, I think, physicality over the longer piece, because Catalan haven't been able to do that in the recent time, and with injuries that they're carrying and that sort of stuff, there's question marks over it. So I'm going to go 34-16 for Hull FC. I think they're a better side. I think they've got a more settled side. We don't know who will be coming out onto the pitch for Catalan, especially in the half-back positions. Yeah. But they've just not got enough, have they, to win it, I don't think, with people like Broughton out as well.
I would suspect not. Okay, so it's a Friday night then, and perhaps the most mouth-watering fixture of the weekend sees, certainly in the Super 8, sees Wigan taking on St Helens. Now, injuries and people dropping out and attacking inconsistencies coupled with St Helens' uptick in their own particular brand of rugby league and the results that it's yielding is leading me to think that you might come unstuck under the Friday Night Lights mark. I'm going for a 28 points to 20 victory in favour of St Helens. For your rebuttal?
The St Helens' recent performances, whilst they've involved good stuff from the halves, have been dominated by that consistent 4 front row pack, and one of those should be missing if the charge is upheld against, is it Thompson who's on a charge, or Richards, one of them?
I'm not sure.
So that's a concern for them, and another concern is Luke Walsh looks likely to miss the game, and he's been very influential with his kicking game in recent weeks. And his goal kicking was quite good as well this week when he got the job back from Percival. So there'll be 2 big misses from them, but obviously Wigan will be missing Manfredi. I just think Wigan need this more, and I think we will be able to do it. I think as long as Wayne gets them into the right mindset rather than the wrong mindset, actually, that he seems to always get us into for big games. So I don't know how I'm
Plus Jordan Turner can kick the ball quite well, so he's not going to be missing. I'm not saying he's Luke Walsh-esque, but he can do a good enough job against this Plan A Wigan team.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that Wigan have some strong performers, and John Bateman will be the linchpin to that. George Williams, if he can do more of his creative stuff and less of the having to game plan stuff because he's not got those skills quite right yet. Then I'm predicting we're going to win, because I still look at the 2 squads on paper that'll be on the field that day, assuming Lockers is maybe back as well in the 17, and with Farrell and Gelling with a game under their belts, Turney or Gildart will come in on the wing, and they're not as good as Manfredi obviously, but they're not. No. They're not players who aren't capable at Super League level and have been playing. So I'm not as worried as maybe. Well, I'm going to pick a 26-22 win, but I'm not.
But you're not confident now at all. Fair enough. I love you for sticking to your guns. Okay, Warrington take on Castleford. One team with something to play for, and another team with nothing to play for. But Castleford last week, with nothing to play for really, turned on and dispatched your Wigan side. So I'm predicting a close one, but I do think Warrington have enough class to get over the line. I think we need to answer some questions about the performances at home from time to time. So I'm going to go for a Warrington victory, 36 points to 26. Lots of points, because you always need lots of points to beat Castleford. But I think Warrington have got the matchings and the beatings of them.
Yeah, and I think Warrington can do more.
Yeah,
is a simple way of putting it. They can do more, and on a full-size pitch.
Yeah.
Castleford, with their failings in defence that we've seen, and they still appeared against Wigan, because some of the Wigan tries, because Castleford aren't very good defensively, organisationally, or in one-on-one situations. So, we saw that, and Warrington will exploit that just like Wigan did, and in fact they'll do it more because they're playing better.
Yes.
And they attack better, and they're at home. So 36-20 for Warrington.
Fantastic. Final game of the Super 8 then sees Widnes take on Wakefield in what I'm going to call the who cares derby. But as patched up and as injury prone as Wakefield are, and as plucky as they've been, and as poor as Widnes have been, as Paul O'Brien alluded to earlier in the show, 4 wins out of 17 or 18 he mentioned, I'm going to pick Widnes for this one, just because of the depth of the injury crisis and some of the players that Wakefield are having to put out on the field. I think Widnes should just about have enough to get themselves home and hosed, although it wouldn't surprise me, as much as I predicted a slender Wakefield victory, a slim Widnes victory, pardon me, if Wakefield went out and did them by 30 points. It's one of those games where it really does just depend on the attitude of these two sets of players.
Yeah, and the attitude for me is better in the Wakefield setup, so I'm going to pick them. Injuries wise, they're probably both in as bad a shape. Selecting kids wise, they're probably